Welcome back to Patman Garage. We are going to do the last thing on this LR3 before it goes home. We are going to rebuild the remotes. They are a lithium battery that is a sealed battery that's soldered to the circuit board from the factory. And it actually has a inductive charger coming off of the steering column that charges the battery. But, after almost 20 years, or I guess 18 years or so, the batteries are finally dying on these remotes. One of them died and the other one's getting really weak. So we're going to take these things apart and replace the batteries, and we'll jump right into it. All right, so this is my working remote that is dying, and every time we turn the car off, it says we need to, or start the car, it says we need to charge the battery. This one no longer works, and we'll get these cut apart, and we've got new batteries that we're going to get soldered on. The batteries are VL2330, and they have a positive and a negative prong that come off the bottom of the battery. I'll show you that in a second. And then I ordered 2 new cases from Amazon. These are coming from 2 different sellers. One came with a little tool in case you want to do the roll pin, but these are going to just be snap-on cases that click together because we're going to have to cut apart to get to the circuit board. All right, so I started cutting it up, and I got pretty good. I got a couple spots where I'm actually through the case. I don't know if that's going to show up or not, but I'm going to work on trying to pry open the rest of the way so I don't damage the circuit board, and see if I can get the case to split open on us here. All right, so I did a little bit of combination. Obviously, my bigger grooves I cut out with my cutoff wheel, and then I did a little bit of scoring with my razor blade in a few select areas, and I got this big chunk off of here, and now we can at least see the depth of the circuit board and the size of it. I will probably make one more cut up this direction here, and that will allow me to get the top of the circuit board that's in this area. And then once we get that off, then we can work on accessing the battery on the other side. All right, well, we got it opened up, and the circuit board's just going to lift out of there and make sure we didn't do any damage to it, but there's our battery on the other side. Now, we will need the mechanical key out of this guy eventually. We will work on that later. We're going to work on going and getting this battery swapped out here. So there's going to be 2 contacts that are soldered on to the circuit board itself. Alright, so one of the battery contacts is going to be this wider one here, this flat, wide one, and then the other one is going to be this narrower on this side over here. So we will have to desolder the solder that's here on both those points, drop the battery off of it, and then we'll take the new one and get it affixed back onto the circuit board. Alright, clearly I don't do this every day because I don't have the right tools. I have my massive soldering iron that I use for regular wiring repairs, and I was using a large gauge wire to help kind of wick some of the solder off of the circuit board as it was getting liquefied again. And then I still was having trouble getting it lined back up, so I ended up using a drill bit with a tiny drill bit on it. That was a 1/16 inch drill bit, and then I was having trouble getting it lined back up, so I ended up popping the black tray off of the remote, lining up the battery first into the black tray, and then the black tray onto the circuit board. That way I was going through only one hole at a time instead of 2 layers of holes. So I now have the circuit board reinstalled. I need to flow in some solder on this guy here. Ooh, if we could focus. So I now have the battery ready to get soldered back in here. I've got this guy and this guy that we need to flow in some solder here. Well, I got the key back together. This particular one has a little screw in it. This is the one that had the screwdriver that came with it. And I already tested the functionality of this one. Unfortunately, my other remote, the battery was actually still good on it, so this remote actually died. So we're gonna have to discard that guy. But we at least have one functioning remote, which is what we started with, so I'm happy with that. Now, the only downside I had with this particular case is this roll pin section here on the blank key shank was shaped slightly different than my existing one, and this inside tumbler piece was a slightly different diameter as well, so I couldn't just transfer the entire original Land Rover key straight onto the case. I had to disassemble and pull the roll pin out of the blank one, use the silver pivot off the new key, and then I had to grind down the thickness in this area here on the old shank to be able to get it to fit inside the silver pivot. So a little bit of a bummer that's not exactly plug and play, but I'm happy with the result.